Hello everyone. So in this video, we will factor this complex trinomial expression. So as you can see, this is a quadratic expression because the highest power on the variable x is 2. And this is a trinomial because there are 3 terms in this expression. So the first term is negative 8x squared, the second term is 20x, and the third term is negative 8. And this is a complex trinomial because the coefficient of the x squared term is not equal to 1. It is equal to negative 8. So that's why this is a complex trinomial. Now, in order to factor this trinomial, the first factoring method we should use is common factoring. So common factoring is useful because make the numbers smaller. Now from these 3 terms, we can factor out negative 4. And we should factor out a negative sign with the 4 because the sign of the first term is negative. So it's always a good idea to factor out the negative if the first term in the trinomial is negative. So here we'll factor out negative 4. Now, in order to write what's left of these 3 terms after factoring out negative 4, so basically we have to divide these 3 terms by negative 4. So we divide negative 8x squared by negative 4. So I'm showing you the steps so that you understand how to write the expression that's left over. If you understand that step, then you can choose to skip this step. So then we do 20x over negative 4 and then negative 8 over negative 4. And then we close the parentheses. Now we have to simplify these fractions. So in the first fraction, negative 8 divided by negative 4 is equal to 2. So we get 2x squared. And then 20 divided by negative 4 is negative 5. So we get negative 5x. And now negative 8 divided by negative 4 is equal to positive 2. So this is the new expression we get after we factor out negative 4 from all 3 terms. Now we have to see if we can factor this expression in the parentheses. So now this is another complex trinomial because the coefficient of this x squared term is 2. It's not equal to 1. Now in order to factor this expression, we can use the decomposition method. So the first step in the decomposition method is to find 2 numbers whose sum is equal to negative 5. That's the coefficient of the x term, and the product is equal to 2 times 2, which is equal to 4. So we get negative 5 from the coefficient of the x term, and the first 2 is the coefficient of the x squared term, and the other 2 is the number term. So this is a very important step we need to understand and memorize. Now we'll focus on the product to find the 2 numbers whose sum is negative 5 and the product is 4. And the first pair of numbers that comes to my mind is 1 times 4. Now 1 times 4 is equal to 4. If we make both of these numbers negative, then the sum becomes negative 5. So negative 1 plus negative 4 is equal to negative 5, and negative 1 times negative 4 is equal to positive 4. So that means these 2 numbers will work for us. So we'll use these 2 numbers to break up the middle term, the x term. So negative 4 stays outside the parentheses, and then we get 2x squared minus 1x minus 4x plus 2. So we are breaking up this negative 5x. Now we have to use the grouping method to factor this. There are 4 terms in this expression now in the parentheses. So now we have to pair up the first 2 terms and we pair up the last 2 terms. So here I'll use the square brackets. So from the first pair we can factor out an x. And now we'll write in the parentheses what's left over. So from the first pair we'll be left with 2x minus 1. And then close the parentheses. Now from the second pair we can factor out a -2. We factor out the negative sign because the first term in that second pair is a negative term. So we factor out -2, and now we write what's left over in the parentheses. So from -4x, if we factor out a -2, so basically we have to do -4 divided by -2, which is +2. So we get +2x. And then we do +2 divided by -2, which is equal to -1. So this is the expression in the second parenthesis. Now we can see that both parentheses have the same expression. So now we can factor out that common expression in the 2 parentheses. So 2x minus 1. And then in the second parentheses, we can write what's left over from these 2 terms. So the x comes from here and the -2 from here. And this is the final answer for the factored form of this given trinomial. So these are the steps you have to keep in mind to factor a complex trinomial like this one. So I hope you'll find this video useful. Please share it, like it, and subscribe to Homework Help. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye.